Hello again, YouTube. Welcome back to our next episode of Doubleheader. My name is Keenan Costain, and he is Amir Daniel. And on today's episode, we'll be taking a trip across the border and overseas with our special guest, Ryan Geraghty from the Trout Wrangler Podcast. And now, on to our feature presentation. All right, y'all, welcome back. Amir Daniels, Ryan Geraghty, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. It's hard to believe we're on episode 10 and we're on international thing for this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing good. Thank you all for having me on.
Good to have you back.
Absolutely. Good to have you back, man. So, Amir, without further ado, let's get started on the first story of the day. So, what you got?
Well, we're going to go to Mexico City, everybody, for our first part of this doubleheader. And you might recognize a few names. First, we got to go take a step back in time with the history of NFL being played outside the United States. And do you by any chance recognize anything here, folks?
Um, Ryan, I'll let you go first on this question.
I see they played in Tokyo and then the Bears and Cowboys played in Great Britain.
Yep, that's two-thirds of it. But also they did Canada as well in the early days. Varsity Stadium, which were as soon as I see here, didn't quite work out in Canada. Only 50,401 people attended, and as a result, they didn't make a profit off of it. So, because at this time, NFL was starting to gain its popularity in the American sports, because it was still baseball dominated uh, for back in the day, and then so therefore not a lot of people were ready for overseas or international play yet. But fast forward to the 70s, NFL's merged with AFL, getting more popular, especially on TV. And NFL figured, let's give it another shot. This time in Tokyo at Kirikin Stadium. And what do you know it it worked out. Got more people attended this time.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. That's definitely a good thing for that to happen.
It is. So they saw the Cardinals take on the Chargers, beat them 20-10. And we covered this earlier in a previous video involving Jack Buck. He's the one who covered that game. So that game turned out to be a success. So Japan's so here, why not give it again 10 years later? And here we are at Wembley Stadium in London, England. Keep that stadium and country in mind. And over 85,000 fans braved heavy rain in 3 hours to see the defending champion Bears beat the Cowboys 17-6. So we've seen an improvement from 1960 to 1986 in terms of attendance and where they're playing the games outside the United States. So I think this is
Right,
gonna do. They should do some. Why not bring it to another country, right?
right. And I'll put the title card in the upper right hand corner if you want to check out that Jack Buck and John Facetta episode. So it'll be in the upper right of your screen now. And without further ado, what's the next thing that we have, Amir?
Well, we're gonna go to Mexico City and for the preseason. And well, the results were like score wise wasn't like something to write home about. Once you pay attention to the attendance in each game, everybody.
All right, so I'll go ahead and read off these numbers here for listening audience on Spotify here. So the Houston Oilers versus Dallas Cowboys on August 15th, 1994. Oilers won 6-0, 112,376 in attendance.
Hey, this is Future Keenan here. So we ran into some technical difficulties while recording, so I'm gonna let Amir take over reading out the rest of these numbers here. Thank you and enjoy the rest of this episode.
So we had Dallas versus New England, August 21st, 1998. New England won that game 21-3, and 106,424 people attended that game. Then the following year, the Dolphins hosted the Broncos, and they won 38-19 with 104 people, 104,209 people in attendance. And at their fourth hiatus, they came back to Mexico with the Colts taking on the Steelers, with Indy winning 24-23 with over 87,000 in attendance. And lastly, 1 year later in 2001, the Raiders and the Cowboys, with Dallas winning 21-6 with 143 people in attendance. Therefore, while it is a preseason game, fans were people across the border were excited to see NFL action, got their money's worth.
And
Is that the boy?
absolutely, and
Is that the boy Curtis Martin in that top right picture? The Patriots one?
Yes, it is. Yep, that is Curtis Martin. And he's, for our audience, I'm sorry I can't see this, but it also is Marvin Harrison, Troy Aikman, and I can't make out. I think that's Charlie Garner for the Raiders here, and I think that's a Run to Gatson for the Dolphins, just to name a few of the players. But that's the other thing, having the marquee players in these preseason games, albeit limited playing time, help bring in attendance.
absolutely, and Ryan, let me ask you this: out of these five facts here, what stands out to you?
That Patriots game. In those late '90s Patriots teams, the fact that they beat the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, some of those late '90s Patriots teams were god awful. They had that good run in '90. Was it '96? Correct me if
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yep,
went to the Super
96.
Bowl and played Green Bay. But there were some of those years that they struggled. So the fact that they beat a pretty good Dallas Cowboys team in '98, that's impressive. And honestly, those Patriots uniforms right there, with they almost look royal blue. Those are my favorite Patriots uniforms. The throwbacks. I love the Reds, but I loved those Patriots uniforms with the Pat Patriot on the shoulder, and they almost had stripes on them. I wish they'd do a game where they wore those now, because I would spend any amount of money to buy a throwback jersey of that blue. If they went blue with the silver pants like that for a special throwback game, I would love it. And then you got Marvin Harrison down there. That one stands out to me as well. Right now, dude, what's crazy is that what year was that? I'm looking here.
2001.
2001. That was a good team too. I mean, now you got Marvin Harrison Jr. and he just got drafted. I'm drawing a blank where Marvin Harrison Jr. got drafted.
He went to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals. That's what I thought. Dude, he's gonna be good there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but going back to those Patriots uniforms, Ryan, I can probably see in the next few years, uh, the NFL saying, "Hey, New England, you want to wear these jerseys for a throwback game?" So I can
Dude,
definitely see that.
I would love that, because my all-time favorite Patriots uniform, until they do that uniform, my favorite Patriots jersey of all time are the throwback Reds. You remember when they did it when it was the 50th anniversary ones, and you got all those shots of
Yeah.
prime Brady and the red
AFL.
jersey. Yeah, the AFL look. I love those ones too. That's the only Patriots jersey I will buy to this day. The only legit Patriots jersey that I had that's a regular home or away jersey was my Mac Jones jersey that I bought and will probably be at the Goodwill store across the street in the next 2 weeks. But
Yeah,
you say that some of these things you can still find souvenirs from these games, from preseason games, from the Mexico games on eBay or Goodwill, because it's part of NFL history, and it's people wondering what is this. It's well, this is when the international games is how they were able to get fans from outside the United States exposed to American football, and people can tell them I went to this game or I saw it live on TV, which some of these games they would broadcast nationally on say ABC or ESPN. Granted, it would be a preseason game, but you get an international game preaching back then, that was your chance to be shown on a national audience, especially if you were a rookie or undrafted free agent or trying to make the roster.
Oh yeah, dude. I was just looking at that the poster with Aikman on it in the top left, the Dallas Houston one. I was like, dude, I'd love to have a hat with that Tecate American Bowl '94 on it. That'd be pretty sweet hat.
Yeah, and then it
Yeah,
says
that
here
one right there.
Deporte Estadio or Sports Illustrated in Spanish, which I
Yeah,
thought was a pretty nice touch.
dude. I have a hat from the '96 New Orleans Super Bowl where they played Green Bay. I like that hat a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like how these things bring us back in time to a certain time and place. And I was too young to see this stuff, but I found the Raiders Cowboys game from the 2001 on YouTube, which proves my point. Like you still find footage of these games
Oh
like
yeah.
years later.
Dude, if you want to see a cool video on YouTube, if it's a baseball video, but it's one of those throwback things that just makes you look at it and be like, dang, that was just a completely better era of baseball. Go and watch the 1999 Home Run Derby at Fenway Park. That video is awesome. You have Berman calling the game, they're calling the Derby. You know his whole thing, back, 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 back. Yeah, I love those old Home Run Derby runnings.
It's funny you bring up Berman because the network he works for is gonna play a part in the next few slides. But first, we got to go to March 15, 2005. You should recognize this face. Oh, technically. Man, I'm circling right now, folks.
I do not. Is that the commissioner at the time?
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
I completely
What
forget his name.
what's his name?
That is Paul Tagliabue, who's
Oh, Paul. Okay.
We'll just
yep,
call him better than Goodell.
yep. And ironically, this was his last season as commissioner for Goodell into the picture. But getting to Mr. Tagliabue, of course, they have the league meetings in March. They're going to discuss like new rules, player safety, international games. And one of the things they propose is a game in Mexico. And the match will be the 49ers and the Cardinals. And that may sound very suspicious because at the time, Niners were coming off a 2-14 season and their offense was listless and they were midst of a decade-long playoff drought. And speaking of playoff drought, so were the Cardinals. That made in '98 and they were coming off a 6-10 season. However, on pay attention to demographics, we're talking about Mexico here. What two states are close by Mexico?
California.
I heard it.
You
I
said
heard California.
California?
That's right. Yep. What
Yeah,
was it, Kenny?
California. Hey,
That
you
is
said
another state.
California, right, Ryan?
Yeah, California. And
Yeah.
honestly, Arizona's pretty close to it too.
Yeah, you're correct. Yep. Oops. So you got Arizona and California right above the Mexican border, and not only that, they got a big Hispanic and Mexico population there. So therefore, a lot of them are cool with 49ers and the Cardinals, both in the country and both the United States and Mexico. So that helps out there on drawing it in an audience for the NFL, both across the border and in the country. So I'm looking forward to this. So let's see how it plays out. So of course, got the marketing. So here we go. Of course, got players. We're gonna do meet and greet. That's Ronaldo Cantu. Excuse me, I butchered the name. Tony Perez at a meet the players meet day leading up to the game, and most importantly, this is going to be a international game. They're going to be wearing patches on their jerseys. You see here, and it's also Mexico, so you got to speak Spanish. Football Americano on their helmets as well. So, they did a good job marketing this game.
Definitely, for sure. It's definitely gonna be interesting of how they, you know, handle the action of the game and the officiating. And we'll see how the fans react to that and how they, think of it.
Yes, indeed. And so, of course, got the marketing, got the matchup. Now we got to think TV networks. You want to. I would think they want to do this, say, on the national stage. So, you got any prediction what network will broadcast this game, folks?
I'm gonna say um maybe ESPN might play a factor in it.
I agree. ESPN and ESPN Deportes.
Okay. All right. Let's see if you guys are right. All right. Got. I see Joe Theismann, excuse me, Mike Patrick, and Paul McGuire. So let's see. That if I remember correctly, they worked for ESPN at the time. And yes, you guys are right. ESPN's going to be broadcasting the game, so everyone tune in Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. 5:30 Mountain Pacific time to see the Cardinals and 49ers play at Estadio Azteca for the first ever Mexico games, NFL Mexican games, and with a special guest, Anthony Munoz. Does that name ring a bell? Anybody?
That dude is still huge.
Mhm.
He's a massive man.
Yes, massive man who played offensive line for the Bengals in the 80s into the early 90s and first ballot Hall of Famer. And we're better to have at the game to promote the NFL in Mexico than someone who is of Mexican heritage and a Hall of Famer to boot. So
Definitely, that player does not ring a bell for me. But as for you two, it probably does, like Ryan just mentioned. So that's a interesting fun fact for me. So
hey, he was definitely his name. I mean, unfortunately, yeah, that tends to be forgotten. He did play for the Bengals when they were good. But of course, the Bengals. I mean, offensive linemen don't record like official stats. But if you ever get a chance to see Anthony Munoz highlights, folks, he was the real deal.
Watch him. He's the man. One of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, we got the marketing, got the matchups, got the network. Now we got to think the game. Who y'all picking to win?
I'm gonna take the Cardinals.
Cardinals, okay.
what would be the final score? Do you have a final score prediction, Ryan?
Dang, 21-17.
Okay, I
Yeah.
like that prediction a lot. I'm gonna say 27-23 Arizona.
All right, too close. Why not? Hey, got why not be a close game? That'd be great for the Mexican crowd. And on the subject of that, I'll take Arizona 20-24. So let's see if we're right. All right. Well, okay, maybe not to a good start. I see 49ers. And I see two players in the end zone and a familiar face wearing number 11. Let's see what happened. Oh, well, I see the 49ers got to a very good start. First play from scrimmage, Bryant Young, another Hall of Famer, forces a fumble after he strip sacks Josh McCown and Derek Smith covers the end zone for 49ers. So they get on the board first, but they're not done there. Derek Johnson returns another fumble for a touchdown just at 78 yards. And by the end of the first quarter, 14-0 San Francisco. So, okay, the home team's a little struggling, but hey, the visiting team, they're making their mark.
Josh McCown, Marvin Ridge legend.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, in case you don't know, we are in North Carolina, and Josh McCown has made his impact here in North Carolina, both high school and the pros with the Carolina Panthers. But speaking of impact or lack thereof, the 49ers offense that didn't really do much afterwards.
Ooh, let me read this for or our listening audience here. Unfortunately, the 49ers never scored after the first quarter due to the listless offense?
Listless.
Listless, yeah. Offense. They netted 168 yards of offense, had 8 first downs, and turned over the ball 4 times. Sam Sam Watate only completed 11 passes on 21 attempts for 126 yards, no touchdown, and was intercepted once. He was replaced by Alex Smith late in the fourth quarter. He went 6 out of 10 yards, 6 out of 10 for for 34 yards.
Yeah. So if that name Alex Smith sounds familiar, yes, it's the same Alex Smith who going to do wonders with the Chiefs and had unfortunately that injury with Commanders, but still a great career nonetheless. But unfortunately, 2005 rookie year went through his growing pains. Be about a friend with you, Ryan.
Yeah, he just snuck in next to me here. But
Oh, good.
Then again, this is an NFL podcast. There are a lot of surprises. It's like
oh
we're
yeah,
expecting to see Alex Smith there, weren't you?
yeah, he loves Alex Smith, I guess.
That
But
might be
dude,
it. I mean, Alex Smith's a pretty likable guy. I mean, can't say anything
he
bad
is.
about him.
Dude, that stat about him and the Joe Theismann injury and the Alex Smith injury in Washington is insane.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's fitting that Joe Theismann's calling was on the call for ESPN at the time, and yeah, unfortunately, they both suffered gruesome leg injuries. Luckily, Alex was able to return, unlike Joe, but still two great careers. And well, you know what, they crossed paths early on as Joe Theismann's completing his last season with ESPN Sunday Night Football as Alex was starting in his rookie season in the NFL. So crazy how that works out.
Hey.
I almost
That's
wish
true.
Alex Smith would take a booth position because he's very well spoken.
Interesting enough, now that you brought that up, he did take a broadcasting job at ESPN. I remember he did that after he retired in 2021 and he was part of the Monday Night crew with Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah, he was. I forgot about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I totally forgot that he played for that long too. Alex Smith
Dude,
until
same here.
2021.
Until I just saw this, I was like, holy cow. Alex Smith's rookie year was in 2005.
Yeah,
Dude, he was up there in age when he retired.
yeah. Like I said, played a long time and and overcame a lot of adversity with injury and a really rough couple years in San Francisco with a lot of coaching changes, offensive coordinator changes, and a team that was fortunately trying to find its way because they were like mediocre at best during his early years.
Dude, there was a girl in my grade whose dad coached Alex Smith.
Really?
Yeah, she was a year older than you guys. She's my age. Her dad's actually now coaching. I want to say it's either Miami or I forget. I think
Yeah,
eh,
what's his name so I can Google him here actually.
I think Jeep Christ, his son played football on my dad's Papa Warner team. You remember Jillian Amir? She was a big tall girl in my grade.
Not
Super
really.
tall. That was probably like 8th grade. I think she moved. But yeah, her dad
But
coached Harbaugh too.
Oh,
And
wow.
then yeah,
is it
he
Hey, look
yeah,
who
is
we
it
got it. What was it?
yeah, what how do you spell that, Ryan?
I think it's
Like person's name?
GEEP and then CHRYST. Yeah, do you know where he's at? He's at Denver. He's in Denver. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he's either
Yeah, yeah,
quarterback.
yeah. He-
I think he's a
Jeep.
quarterback coach.
Yeah, Jeep. It says here Jacksonville Jaguars Pro Scout. Yeah, actually Jacksonville. After doing this
Huh.
Google search.
Dude, yeah, he coached Colin Kaepernick too. He was a wide receivers coach in Carolina, I think too. He was like around there in the Steve Smith era, like
See,
2000. I want to say
you
I'm 28. Probably 2014. He would have been the wide receivers coach for the Panthers. I think.
actually, according to this website that I found, 2006 to 2010. Actually, according to
Okay, yeah, that might have been what it was. Yeah, because he was in San Fran, I think, for a while too.
Yeah, and it says here that he's I think 62 years old.
Yep. So,
Or he's
yeah,
in 60.
yeah, dude. He coached Alex Smith. He had nothing but good things to say about Alex Smith. And then, dude, like I was saying, he even coached Harbaugh when he was playing in San Diego.
Well, yeah, we covered a little about Jim Harbaugh's time in San Diego in our first episode, believe it or not.
Yep, and
Yeah,
I'll
go
put
ahead
it
and
and
check
I'll
that
put
out,
it in
folks, when
the
you get the chance.
yep, and I'll put it in the upper right hand corner of your screen now. So if you want to check that out. So without further ado, what's next?
Well, before we move on to the next slide, as for Mr. Tim Rattay, the guy wearing number 13, yeah, this is his last game as a starter in the NFL, and you can see there, you can see why his numbers were bad, and he could not generate the 49ers offense. Hence why they drafted Alex Smith in the draft in the 2005 draft. And like I said, well, it took a while. Alex Smith was able to prove himself, unlike Tim Rattay. So Niners got to a hot start and cooled off. But what about the host team, the Cardinals? How did you guys fare out? You might, yeah, I see some familiar faces here. Number 11,
Yeah.
81.
Larry
Number 12.
Fitzgerald.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep.
That was
And
the man.
Josh yes. And Josh McCown as well. And like you said, Ryan, Fitzgerald. And actually, fun fact, it was 2014. Panthers versus Browns was my first NFL game. So Josh McCown and Johnny Football were the quarterbacks at the time for Cleveland. So those were the first quarterbacks I've seen, for an opponent, for Carolina that I've seen in person. And that was such a fun game just to see both of those guys get playing time. So, and
Johnny
without further ado, go ahead.
Johnny Football was so good, but just fell off the face of the earth when he got into that bad crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we might, and this this might uh that came up. This has come up with an idea as well. Maybe we could do a story on Johnny Football one of these days, Amir.
Well, definitely. I mean, yeah, 'cause, his brief impact in the NFL, and it's crazy. We brought up Alex Smith. I mean, to show how what small world we're living in. I mean, Johnny Football had to be at least in middle school when this game happened, and I was in elementary school when this happened, second grade at attending Reedy Creeks. It was 2005, and getting back to that year, that was Larry Fitzgerald's second season in the NFL, and he went being leading the league in receptions that year, right with Steve Smith, and then right behind him was his teammate Anquan Bolden, who was in his third year in the NFL. And
Dude, I love Anquan Bolden. That dude was so good.
he was, I mean, and him and Larry Fitzgerald in the same
Yeah.
offense. I mean, it's like, and look at the numbers right here. That just says it all right there. 218
Yeah.
yards receiving
Between the
between
both
the
of them.
two.
Dude, they're so good. That was such a 1-2 punch wide receiving core right there. They had somebody else pretty good in that wide receiving core too that was good but barely got any looks because Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden were just absolute forces.
Yeah, and then I know you're
Yeah,
referring to Steve Breston, who hadn't entered the NFL just yet, but yeah, I know it's a few years away from that, but it's crazy to think that some of the players on this Cardinals team will be on that Super Bowl team just 3 years later, as is the case with Neil Radcliffe, who would set could for record 6 field goals in this game, and part of a record-tying season where he kicked 40 field goals en route to a Pro Bowl appearance. As with Josh McCown, he put up Pro Bowl numbers: 385 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and I say, like I said, got to a cold start, whether that's strip sack, but finished the night very strong.
Dude, Josh McCown looks so young right there. It's insane.
It is. And he played in the NFL for a long time, too.
Yeah, he played in the NFL for a while. Now you got Owen playing for UTSA. Who's actually,
Yep.
dude, so he was one of the ones, I'm pretty sure my dad was telling me this. So Owen McCowan was one of the ones that was playing for Colorado before Dion took over, and Dion was like, "You're not gonna get any playing time," so he's like, either stay or transfer, and he ended up transferring to UTSA. But the dude's got a freaking cannon for an arm. He can sling that thing. He had a decent year in the American Conference last year. That it's just UTSA. It's kind of they're one of those schools. It's kind of hard to recruit those guys.
Yeah,
They
it's
just
the
don't
first I've
have
ever
that.
heard of that school. And crazy bring up Dion. What you know? This was his last season in the NFL in 2005.
That's what I was thinking. Was that one of those years that he did he play for Dallas or the Raiders that year?
He was with the Baltimore Ravens.
That's who he was with. I forgot he had a little stint with the Ravens.
Yeah, he did broadcasting for a few years after he left Washington and came back for 2 seasons with the Ravens, and then after the 05 season retired and of course won broadcast before he went into coaching. And it's crazy, like I said, we're bringing up broadcasting, coaching, and stuff. Fitzgerald did some time with broadcasting, and I think Josh McCown, he's doing coaching right now as well. So it's like it shows you how much this was like 19 years ago. Like I said, it was such a small world. It's like we're seeing these guys play, and now we're seeing them coach or broadcast the game. In some cases, see their children play football, well, collegiately or professionally.
Where's Josh McCown coaching? Is he still doing quarterback stuff at Marvin Ridge, or is he in the college aspect now?
I don't know. I think he might be still with Marvin
Yeah,
Ridge.
yeah, I'm doing a quick Google search right now, folks, and let's see. Oh, he's a quarterback coach for Minnesota at the moment, at the time of this recording.
Okay, so
Minnesota, like Vikings or college.
NFL, Minnesota Vikings.
that's pretty cool. Dang, I didn't even know that.
Wow,
Yeah,
what do you know?
Wonder if he got to coach that boy Kirk Cousins.
Perhaps. But yeah. Kirk Cousins is with Atlanta now, and I
Yeah, he's with
forgot.
Atlanta now.
Yeah,
But,
but that's a story for another day. So
my girlfriend, for some reason, is one of the biggest Kirk Cousins fans. But I have no
really,
idea why. Yeah, we're going to the Falcons Panthers game on October 13th.
okay,
Okay.
cool.
Wish them luck. And since it's over Kirk Cousins, he likes that. Well, the fans in Mexico like that because look at this number right here.
103,467 attendance for this game, folks.
Yeah, they turned out at Estadio Azteca, and also the reason why I bring that up here because you see the capacity for Sun Devil Stadium, the Cardinals Stadium at the time, that was more than the capacity of because at the time they played at Sun Devil Stadium, they rarely sold out their games, and then how the Cardinals weren't very good during their time at Sun Devil Stadium. But it just shows you how much difference between a Cardinals home game in the States and one across the border at the time, and of course, between 2005, that was their last year at Sun Devil Stadium before they moved into what we now know as State Farm Stadium, but then as University of Phoenix Stadium. So just give you about that. But either way, first Mexico games was a success, and the NFL's like, you know what? We can take this overseas. How about remember London, England? Who's up for a trip to London, England, folks? Anybody?
Let's go.
So you heard it here, folks. We're going. Get your passports out because we're heading overseas to London in our next segment when we come back from the break.
You're listening to Double Header. Be sure to like and subscribe. All right, folks. So we are here in the UK.
Yeah, UK.
The UK, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, folks: how many of you people on this panel here have been outside of the United States?
I have.
I have. So Amir, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I've been to Portugal twice, Spain, and Morocco.
Cool, cool. Ryan?
I've been to Ireland. Um, been to the Bahamas twice. Then I've been to Mexico. Trying to think of where else I've been. I think that's it. We're going to Aruba this year, but I think that's still a province of the United States. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, as for me, I've been to Ireland and Scotland. Uh, and funny enough, I have a I have a grandmother on my mom's side that's actually Scottish, so that's cool. Shout out to my grandma there. So anyway, we are going to talk about a 2012 international game that happened in the UK in London. So without further ado, any guesses on what the matchup uh, is is going to be?
The New England Patriots and uh the they were they weren't the LA Rams back then, were they?
They
It
were
was
not,
St. Louis.
but
They're
you're
St. Louis.
yes,
Yep, there you go.
yes.
Yep.
Yep.
It's
All right,
kind of
let's
strange
see.
now to think that not too long ago they were in St. Louis, but now they're back in LA. Well, been there for now 8 years,
Oh,
8 seasons now.
sorry about that.
You good?
It's all good.
My dog
Well,
just
let's
ripped the
see if you.
microphone.
Well, without further ado, let's see if you guys are correct. And hey, we got the St. Louis Rams and the New England Patriots. So ding 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 ding, you guys are right. And yes,
Mhm.
I did put St. Louis like actual St. Louis instead of the ST. So that's my mistake there, folks. So
No
going
worries.
forward, we got of when did the when does the international games get implemented? So, the NFL launched the International Series on October 28th, 2007, when the New York Giants faced off against the Miami Dolphins at London's Wembley Stadium. The Giants won 13 to 10 en route to their franchise third Super Bowl title. So, and as you can see, here is the logo here in the middle of your screen. So, it's got anything to say when it came to like the first matchup overseas?
So that a Eli Manning. Eli Manning versus who was the Miami Dolphins quarterback that year?
Cleo
I'm not
Lemon.
really sure, but Amir, what did you say?
That was Cleo Lemon. That was the when they had Cam Cameron as their head coach, and that was that forgettable 1-15 season in Miami.
Yeah, I was just
That was
say
a rough year. Yeah.
that's a pretty good Giants team right there though.
Oh yeah, 'cause they still
Oh,
had Strahan, and Eli was coming to his own, and Monty Toon was
Plaxico
still on that team, and Jeremy Shockey.
Plaxico Burris I think was Plaxico still with
Yeah,
Pittsburgh?
he was with them. Yep.
Yeah, he was with them that year. That was I think the year at the end of the season that he almost blew his foot off.
That was the next year, but that was the year
Yeah.
he got the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. I do know we're reading about this game not too long ago. Tickets sold out like minutes after they went on the market.
so yeah. With
Yeah.
that, what are you gonna say, Ryan?
I think, dude, that happens a lot with these overseas games. Tickets sell out before a lot of people can get them. Well, it's
Yeah,
like I think that's a different problem though. I think a lot of ticket brokers buy them up.
yeah, they
Which is
do like to
crazy.
pull like the get your free tickets outside the stadium. But I will say, getting back to my presentation for go forward with yours, Ken, it just shows you the NFL is very popular overseas and outside the U.S. because I mean, you saw the E10s there at the end of my segment, and then I mentioned this now. Just the tickets, since they did so well in Mexico, they brought it over to London. Like matter of seconds of tickets being on sale, they were sold out. And,
Yeah, that's a good point to end off of. So what we have next is the 2012 season that took place for both of these teams. So this is the second time that New England has been to London, fun fact, and the first time for the St. Louis Rams. The New England Patriots made strides throughout the season, being teams of the Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos, and the New York Jets in overtime. New York Patriots quarterback Tom Brady came into 39 straight games with a touchdown pass. The Rams,
To go.
however, the GOAT, yes. And we all agree on this panel that Tom Brady is one heck of a quarterback, right?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
So with that, so the Rams, however, were 3-4 coming into this losing streak, uh, losing to the Green Bay Packers at home in St. Louis, 30-20. So with that, guys, got anything else to say when it comes to this slide?
No.
Um,
Yeah, I think Brady's the GOAT. Um, was this a Sam Bradford year for LA?
it, well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was. I know yeah, it's. I'm see again. We're used to see him playing LA now, but back then it was St. Louis. But yeah, this is the Sam Bradford years. There were moments of
great.
like just potential, but never materialized. And
Yeah.
as I say that, they got to a lost opening day on a winning streak, but then they lost their last two going in this game, roughly at home to Green Bay and then weeks prior to the Dolphins in Miami. And this was also their first year under Jeff Fisher, who came back to NFL after a 1 year absence.
good to know there. So we've talked about the matchup. We talked about the 2012 season. Now we gotta find a place to play. So like in the other slide previously about the games being implemented, we're going back to Wembley, England, which opened in 1923 and has a maximum capacity of 90,000. And fun fact here, it has hosted the Olympics in 1948 and the World Cup in 1966.
Mhm. That is interesting. And that is interesting because at the time of this recording, the Olympics just ended in Paris, and we see what a big turnout that is for the international audience across the world, and same thing case with the international game for the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Shout out to the boy Steph Curry for bringing a goal back to Charlotte.
Oh, yep. And Team
yep, shout out
USA,
to
yep,
Steph.
congratulations. And also Paris, good congrats as well to them. They did a wonderful job hosting the Olympics this year.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like even opening and closing ceremonies were really cool to watch.
Absolutely. So we found our location. We know what the teams are going to be. Now it's matchup time, folks. So coming up next, we have the St. Louis Rams versus the New England Patriots. So off we go. So the commentators for this game as well, we have Jim Nance and Phil Simms, who are on the CBS network. And the game took place at 1 p.m., 5 p.m. Grand Mountain Time, and the weather looking like 49 degrees and heavy rain. The capacity of this game was 84,004 people, if I'm saying that correctly.
You got it.
Yep.
Cool. So off we go. We got our announcers. Check. We got our location. Check. We got our teams. Check. Now, what happened? So the St. Louis breakdown. So the first possession was Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford, Chris Givens for a 50-yard touchdown to make it 7 early in the first. And then after that, they were non-existent for the rest of it. So
Yes.
with
Since
that,
the game in Mexico with the 49ers.
yeah, absolutely. And remind me again, what was the final score of that Mexico game before we move on?
Yeah, no, yeah, should have brought this up. So 49, the Cardinals defeated 49ers 31-14. So our predictions were off score wise, but Cardinals won nonetheless. But I think that game
Right.
was lopsided. Just waiting to see the rest of this game, folks.
Yeah.
Gosh,
So after
who
that, they
was
were
that?
non-existent.
Chandler Jones right there. good.
Yeah, that's right. He was
Uh,
on this team back in 2012.
Yeah. And then that's Devin
Yeah.
McCourty on the left.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Sam Bradford's stats were were 22 of 30, 205 yards, one touchdown, one interception, and he was replaced by Calvin Clemens late in the fourth when the game was already decided. And 12 penalties were handed to the Rams. So it was a bad day at the office. So with that, any more thoughts before we move on?
Um, Nothing really. I was just looking at, I'm trying to think of who that guy in front of Chandler Jones is right there.
I can't
I
picture it
can't
out either.
tell. Dude, Chandler Jones kind of falling off the wagon though. Have you seen some of the stuff that he's been posting, Amir?
I have not, but I know I know he was great in New England, was perennial Pro Bowler and All Pro, and
Yeah.
did good in Arizona, and then Oakland, Vegas. See what happened here. Oakland Raiders with Vegas Raiders. Anyway, outside of that infamous finish against his former team in late December that year, didn't really do much. And then I know he's had some issues with the law of late, and it's just
Yeah.
been
Dude,
fortunate for him.
he's borderline. Like, I think he's got CTE pretty bad, like worse than Antonio Brown has it potentially. Dude,
Yeah.
like, was on live videos on like Instagram and stuff like that. Like, burning Oakland like I just did the same thing. I said Oakland Raiders instead of Vegas.
Yeah.
And dude, he was going live on Instagram and like he went on Instagram live one day and made up a song about Bill Belichick. And dude, it was the weirdest thing, but dude, I was like, holy cow. It's like I didn't think Chandler Jones was gonna get to that point to where it was like him and AB were competing for who the biggest retired knucklehead is. But kind of hard to top AB though. But I think he's
Yeah.
like neck and neck with AB.
So with that, so we talked about the St. Louis breakdown here. So what happened to the New England Patriots, you might ask? Well, looking at these stats here, you have for some Brady magic up in the air. Ryan and Amir.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
that's first run.
dude. Brady
So I'll read
23
these.
for 35.
Yeah, 23 for 35, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Rob Gronk. Rob Gronk. I don't know why I put Rob Gronk, but I guess I can call him that. But 8 catches for 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Lloyd. I am familiar with him with two passes, both touchdowns, 19 yards and 9 yards out. Uh, Stephon Ridley with 127 rushing on 15 carries for 1 touchdown and forced 2 turnovers defensively. And Alfonso Denyard and Tavon Wilson each recorded interceptions in the fourth, while the game was in the Patriots' favor. The Patriots defense also sacked Bradford twice. Despite him being sacked twice, Sam Bradford, you thought this game would be a lot closer, huh? With that.
Dude, I mean, I completely forgot about Brandon Lloyd. That dude was such a dude. There are so many good receivers on this Patriots team right here that like Brandon Lloyd kind of gets um um kind of gets overshadowed by some of those guys, but
Yeah.
he's still super good.
Yeah. And doesn't get the credit that he deserves, right? Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and funny you bring up Brandon Lloyd because he was also on the 49ers team that played in Mexico 7 years earlier and led the team in receiving that night. He was basically their whole offense outside of the quarterback with 102 yards and 7 receptions. And he can make some of the most craziest catches if you ever see his highlight reel.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude, was Tavon Austin on this Rams team right here?
He was not. He got drafted the
Uh,
next year. This is
yeah,
2012. This is the last year with Wes Welker in New England.
dude. Oh,
That's
Wes
right.
Welker. I used to
Yep.
love that dude.
Yeah, and as for Gronk, speaking of highlight reel, I mean, this is when he became like really started to make a name for himself. So, the year before he set the record for most yards for a tight end, and was definitely on the way to breaking that record had he not got hurt a few weeks later. But one thing I remember most from this game when they showed it on Red Zone, him scoring the second touchdown, or I think his first touchdown, but he imitated like a soldier, like on wind up toy. He did that celebration. Yep, I remember
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Yep.
I
It's an
knew we were
all-timer.
going to be talking about that the next day at school, and sure enough, we did. And I said, "See that touchdown celebration by Gronkowski yesterday?" And they said, "Yeah, I remember that." Yeah, that's what I remember
Dude,
from that game.
that was an all-time Gronk spike. Dude, like
Yes, and the
that was
spike
one of
finished
the
it off. Yes.
that was one of the top 3 Gronk spikes of his career. He was doing this and then he
Yes.
went and spiked it. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy. That's a top 3 Gronk spike of all time.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, that's a good note to leave off for this flag. So, what does this mean for what does this mean for New England going forward? So, after beating the Rams, they ended up winning their 7 out of their 8 games. The only loss during that span was in December against the 49ers. Patriots won their 4th AFC East title, and we all know their dominance, and throughout the 2010s, and claimed the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. With New England, ended up finishing with a record of 12-4 that season. So, Ryan, you were right on the money with of how well New England played. They ended up winning their divisional game against Houston, but they ended up losing the AFC Championship game against Baltimore that season. So,
My dad was at that game. That was the big I want to say I think it was Ray Rice ran back like the first punt of the game. And dude, that game I remember watching that game, and it was just one of those ones where it was like you're so good up until that one game, and then you just get absolutely dominated by Baltimore in the AFC Championship game, and it just never should have happened.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was rematch from the previous season, and yeah, we covered this on earlier this summer. Uh, Hernandez ended up being his last game, but I had no clue your dad went to this game, and so, so I did not know that.
Yeah, my dad was at that game. Dude, yeah, that
yeah,
my dad said so he was with my uncle Chuck. He's with my uncle Chuck. I want to say my uncle Charlie maybe. But I'm pretty sure like the big one that stood out was he was with my uncle Chuck, and they were walking into the game as Ray Rice was running back that punt. He said that
Mm.
they were coming up around the you know how they have the big lighthouse at
Yeah,
Gillette.
or had it tore down,
They
but yeah.
had they tore it down and built a new one now, but they were walking up at that time, and then you could hear the entire stadium of the Baltimore. There was mostly the Baltimore fans going crazy when he ran
Oh
it
yeah.
back. But he's like, after that happened, he was like, you could have heard a pin drop in that stadium. He's like, they got to their seats and it was just like utter defeat, and they weren't even like maybe a minute and 30 into the game, 2 minutes into the game, like. But that they yeah, that was a crazy game. I remember that
Yes.
one. That season still is one of those ones that just makes me shake my head. Is it they had such a good team and then just
Yeah.
came up so short.
Yeah, and I know they were leading at halftime in that game, and then Baltimore took over
Yeah.
the second half, and that was also the last game called Gil Santos called for for the Patriots before he retired, and definitely one of the great voices of the NFL. May he rest in peace. He passed away in 2018, where they won their most recent Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, Scott. I want to say I don't remember if it was Scott Zolak's family. Um, I think Scott Zolak's family sat near my dad's when they were younger, when they had season tickets. Because my dad, we were on the Patriots Hall of Fame tour, and Scott Zolak's son was directing the tour or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. My dad was
Yeah,
like, "Oh, it's like you guys used to sit near us when we had season tickets when we were kids."
yeah.
We
'Cause
got
I
to
know.
try on all the
Sorry.
Super Bowl rings that year. We got a picture with all the Super Bowl trophies. I think it was our Christmas card that year.
Yeah,
Well, how about that? Yeah.
yeah, Scott Zolak, he was the backup quarter to Bledsoe, and then at this point, he was the like color commentator for the Patriots radio
Yeah.
network, for also for the late Gino Capoletti, who also did a fabulous job in the booth for the Patriots.
Oh yeah. Capoletti was the man.
Mhm.
But yeah, he was on it wasn't WEEI. It was another Patriots network.
Yeah, I think it's WBZ Boston.
Yeah,
Okay.
WBC Boston. That's what
Mhm.
it is. Yep. Every
I was
Sunday.
about to look. Yep, I was about to look it up, but you guys saved me. So,
I think
but
that's the same station Felger and Maz is on.
Yeah, not familiar with them, but I'm familiar with because again I do follow the NFL and obviously the Patriots at that time. So I say WE like WBZ.
Yeah, WBZ.
Mhm.
What a radio network, dude. It's awesome when you're driving into the city or something like that. And you got some old, all riled up Patriots fan cursing out Felger and Felger and Maz on WBZ. Like, dude, if you get a chance after this, look up funny Felger and Maz calls, dude. You will hear some of the funniest stuff. They're just mad Patriots and Red Sox fans and Celtics fans calling in and just chewing out Felger. It's the funniest thing.
definitely.
Definitely have to take a look and watch that.
Yeah, take a look after, dude. Some are so funny.
But now we talked about New England situation. So, what about St. Louis? Well, the Rams ended up with a losing streak, which made it to four games and tied against the 49ers and ended up being 3-6-1 going into Thanksgiving weekend. St. Louis won their excuse me. St. Louis won 4 of their final 6 games, but it was too little, too late for the Rams. But they ended up with a record 7-8-1. Just still a nice recovery for sure.
Yeah, as I
Oh yeah.
mentioned before, there were flashes with the Sam Bradford era. I mean, this is the only time he played a full 16 game schedule and his best season by far. And it's just they had a very talented defense with Chris Long was on that team, Robert Quinn, years where he got Aaron Donald joined 2 years later. Norris Jenkins, who was a rookie, he was on that roster. And not Mark Aaron, he was with Tampa Bay. Leaving out someone else. James Laurinaitis, who was also on that Rams team. So they had a very stacked defense. I feel like their offense just couldn't just was held them back.
Yeah, their offense was just where that entire team fell apart. Um, who was their running back that year? They had somebody decent at running back that just could not get his train started, you know?
They still had Steven Jackson, which this is
Yeah.
his last year with the Rams, and he was basically once the guys like Holt and Bruce left and Falk, he was basically their offense. That was
Yeah, he
it.
was their entire offense, but it's like, dude, you can't revolve your entire offense around one player. Dude, it was literally like, how many times can you get into the shotgun and hand off the ball to Steven Jackson? But it's like, dude, I mean, they kind of had to. I mean, Sam Bradford at times did have a cannon, but
Yes,
like,
he did. Mm-hmm.
but it's like, dude, he really he had a cannon of an arm, but it's like, who do you have for receivers?
Right.
Like,
Bruce Givens. It's
yeah,
amazing I can name some of these guys. Lance Kendricks.
Yeah.
Who's another guy they had in that roster? Matthew Mulligan was on that roster. Not household name by any stretch
Yeah,
of the
dude, I was
imagination.
gonna say, dude, Amir, you're like a walking sports encyclopedia, dude. I forgot about David Givens, and then I didn't even know those other players. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
I've heard of David Givens myself, and
Dude, David
and,
Givens
I
was
was
a
like,
beast.
definitely.
Chris Gibbs, but Dave Gibbs played for the
Yeah,
Patriots
Chris.
in the early
Yeah,
2000s.
Right,
sorry, I got
Chris.
No
mixed up.
relation, by
Sorry.
the way, Chris and David. But yeah, there was Austin Pettis, another guy. I mean, and he had, unfortunately, he didn't spend much time with Tavon Austin because he got hurt right before Tavon Austin had that breakout game against the Colts. Who got injured here in Carolina, and then that's the other thing with Bradford, the injuries. He had knee injuries, shoulder injuries, and it just. And
You
of course,
could
that's
you could sneeze on the dude and he'd get hurt.
yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, my dad said the same thing. He just sneezing, he would get hurt, and it would just be
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, shout out to the boy Tavon Austin, dude. I'm gonna miss having him in the league, bro. I still watch that highlight tape like 3 times a week.
Yeah, I thought he was going to help turn around the Rams' offense, but just again, it just never happened.
Call me if you need anything.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good segment to end on, and that is the end of my story. So, Amir, before I forget, and unfortunately do not have the final score of this game. Do you happen to remember it?
Yeah, the Patriots
Uh,
won 45-7.
Yeah,
Right,
45 to
45-7
seven.
was
I
the
was gonna
final.
say they shellacked them boys.
But
Absolutely beat the
yeah,
brakes off them.
yeah. I don't know why I did not put it in some of these slides somewhere, but yeah. But hey, for our listening audience on Spotify, 45-7. So anyway, that will be the end of my story here. And yeah, so what do you guys think of the international play?
Dude, that was an awesome show. Thank you all boys for having me.
My pleasure, and it was, just to not only explore the international games, but bring us back in time to that time when these games occurred, and especially the 2012 games.
Yeah.
We remember that, seeing that live, like
Oh yeah.
on TV and everything, and then talking about former players, where they are now, where we were then, and how what small world we live in next. They're one minute you seeing them play, and next they're coaching and then or broadcasting the game.
That's what's cool about it, man. Like a lot of these guys that we grew up watching are now either coaching, commentating, or they're like recruiting or something like that. It's insane. Um, and it's cool to see. Um, but like I want to know who the next player coach is gonna be.
Yeah,
Like you got Dion, and it's like who's gonna be next? I could see Randy Moss going and coaching if he gives up broadcasting, dude. But did you know Randy Moss's son Thad played at Mallard Creek High School?
I
Or
I
I think it was
do
Mallard
remember
Creek.
that. Yes,
Yeah,
do.
he's good. But dude, yeah, I like how in depth y'all get about the topics and all that stuff, dude. You guys have something good going here.
Yeah, thank you.
No
Thank you,
problem.
thank you.
No problem.
So
Just
before,
keep up the good work, boys.
Yeah,
yes,
good to have
sir.
you on. And before we sign off, we do unfortunately have
Oh,
to end on a
good.
rather somber note. In case you guys weren't paying attention to the news over the weekend, former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki passed away from after a 2-year battle with lung cancer. I'm bringing this up because this is on our channel. We have a YouTube channel and everything, and without her, we wouldn't be able to broadcast this. Wouldn't have this platform to showcase our passion and fans for the NFL. And for Susan, thank you for your time at YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And our thoughts and prayers are with their family during this time, and we are deeply saddened to hear this news, and hope things get enlightened throughout the YouTube community as well. So with that, so Ryan, before we let you go, you have a new podcast in the works right now,
Yeah,
called the Trout Wrangler Podcast, right?
yeah, I've had it. I think I'm recording my 4th episode tomorrow. Um, I've actually I'm doing it on. I went up to the Watauga, however you say it. I've heard it said both ways, but it's just one of those North Carolina towns or something like that. Catawba, like it's one of those weird ones. But I got it coming out tomorrow. I'm not. It's not coming out tomorrow. I record them Thursdays and then they release on Fridays. Um, you can find it on Spotify and PodBean right now. Kind of still trying to get that YouTube out there too. Just kind of trying to figure out a way to do it. Like do it through here do it or just do it through my camera. Um but yeah, tomorrow's episode is gonna be about the Watauga River, private waters, and then I usually do like a fly of the week, and I do a trout fly sharp review. So, I try and it's like a 40-minute episode, keeps me busy. But I've really liked kind of like working the ins and outs of this stuff. It's kind of hard to understand, but when you kind of get the hang of it, you start doing something. So it's like getting on this show with you guys. It definitely helps me out a little bit. Like I look at what we're doing here. I'm like, maybe Microsoft Teams might be a good route to go for when you start having guests on and stuff like that, and doing like appearances. So this is a question for y'all. How do you guys like using Microsoft Teams?
I would say it was a struggle at first, trying to get recording stuff, how to record and getting the sound. But as times went on, it's I say it's the best thing. I say it's worked out.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did you guys have to pay for like a more like a subscription, or are you guys just running on the free version?
for me, since we're recording on my end, I would say maybe $11 a month, give or take, which is not bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
But I definitely like it, and also for editing audio, I use Audacity to make a few tweaks to it if necessary. So I use Audacity to edit some sound if needed. So other than that, I think it sounds pretty solid, you know.
Yeah,
And
dude. I mean, I
yeah,
really like how this is going, but sounds good, boys. But I'll send y'all a link for my podcast tomorrow. Just tell me
No,
how
yeah,
you
and
like it.
yeah,
But
I can
I know
definitely
Keenan listens to him.
yeah, I've definitely
But
been
yeah, he
checking
gives
it
me some
out the
good
last few weeks.
feedback.
Yeah,
He
and
gives me some
I'll
good
go ahead and
feedback.
put it I'll go ahead and put it in the link in the description box down below if you guys want to check him out. So, without further ado, this has been Doubleheader with Keenan Costain, Amir Daniels, and our special guest, Ryan Geraghty. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, folks.
Sounds good. Thank you
Yeah,
again,
take care,
boys.
folks. Do.